What is good? Welcome back to Mo Life. If you are new, welcome. My name is Morgan, and on this channel we talk about life, love, health, happiness, my different life experiences, stuff like that. If you're returning, welcome back. Today's topic is going to be a little bit different again from my other videos. I'm finding that recently I want to speak on things that I've gone through and have insight on so I can help people who might be going through the same thing. The topic for today, or the question of this video, is, do you have an undiagnosed eating disorder? So this goes for men and women. Obviously, anybody can have an eating disorder, but I think a lot of times people might not realize that their behaviors, their thoughts actually are indicative of a more serious mental condition known as an eating disorder. So I'm going to start this off by kind of like telling my story to see if anybody can kind of relate to it, and then get into more like technicalities afterwards. But basically I don't want to call it a journey, my experience with this kind of started when I was 18. I started weightlifting when I was really young. I started lifting weights when I was 13 years old. And up until like 13 to 18, I never really had any like body goals that I was trying to be like skinny, but I wasn't like working out to like look a certain way. It was more like it was a habit at that point. When I was 18, that's kind of when I was on social media more, and I started noticing like, oh, this girl is working out in this type of way and she's building this type of body. And at the time, my ideal body goal was like the, slim, thick, what every girl kind of like dreams of having, that kind of body, the slim, thick kind of body. But I was like, I can build that. Like, I never was like, I'm going to stop eating, I'm going to go get like surgery. It was like, if I discipline myself enough and only eat certain foods and only do this, then I can like build a certain body. So I became obsessed with this idea of like building a body, like build a bear, build a body. Through that journey, and all of that goal isn't necessarily a bad goal. Like, nothing is wrong with trying to build your dream body at all. The manners or the ways in which you try to attain that can be a problem. So in college, again, I was still in the beginning of this journey, 18, 19. This is the part where I was focusing on like slimming down. Like, I wanted to get slim first. And so I had the app, MyFitnessPal, which like most people have heard of. And I restricted myself to 1,500 calories a day. To give you an example of like how my body is set up, I'm 5'8". So 1,500 calories, and being 19 years old, being a growing young woman, is not enough. So I did the BMR for this part of my life. I was 19, female, 5'8", 145 pounds. So based on that, I needed 1,700 calories a day just to literally have enough energy to function. So by me only eating 1,500 calories a day, my body was lacking a lot of energy it needed to function properly. And so this is why it's important to know how many calories your body needs to function, and make sure your goals are aligning with it. I was severely below what I needed to literally just live my life. Especially when I learned that our brains in and of itself uses 20 to 25% of all of the energy we consume. So if I'm only eating a small amount of calories, my brain's using up a fourth of that. And so my body doesn't have that much to run on. So there's 1,500 calories might seem like a lot, might seem like a little, but in my head, I was losing a lot of weight. I got down to my smallest. It was like 145. Like, I was very, very small. I can try to find a picture and link it here. But I was like very afraid of certain foods. I did not like eating carbs. Whenever I would go out with my family, like for breakfast, never got hash browns. I never got toast. I'd be afraid of eating like pancakes. I would avoid certain foods because the fear of it like tacking on weight. And like, I was obsessed with macros. I'm not gonna go into like all the details, but I can do that in a different video. Like, I was obsessed with like macros and like only eating a certain amount of things. And it got into like a really restrictive point where I was like obsessed about what I was eating. And I would get really, really down on myself if I didn't follow through. And that led to a second type of eating disorder which would be like binging. So on one hand, I'm restricting myself to certain foods. And then if I made one mistake, right? So I'm out at a birthday party and I eat a cookie. My mentality was like, fuck it. I already messed up my diet. I'm just gonna ruin it further. And so then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna eat another cookie and I'm gonna have ice cream and I'm gonna have soda. And it just kind of like compiled into like it compiled into like a huge like binging fest, when in reality I could have eaten that one cookie and it was fine. So there was the duality on that part of it, super restrictive, binging, feeling like shit about it, and then starting the cycle over and be like, I'm gonna be even more strict on myself. I just need to have more discipline. Why can't I have more discipline? That were the thoughts that I had in my head. So now fast forward like 2 more years, 21 years old. Again, I started doing more research on like food, and I started to find out if I want to be slim thick, I have to be eating a fuck ton of protein, and I have to have a calorie, not a deficit. I have to be eating more calories than I need. So then I became obsessed with the other way, right? I was trying to eat like 2,600 calories a day. And so I was stuffing myself. Like, I'm naturally like not like a big person. So trying to like eat all my calories made me feel disgusting. I was bloated all of the time. I felt like lethargic. I just felt disgusting. Like when you're always full, and then I would be like, oh my God, I have to hit 20 more grams of protein and I need 1,000 more calories and it's already 8:30 p.m. Like protein shakes, eating peanut butter, like stuffing my face just to hit this goal. And I realized that like, hey, I don't like how I feel like this either. And so it went from restrictive to semi-binging, right? And then over the course of time, like loosening up, like trying to figure out what I want. And then to not binging. Then it went to overeating. And that lasted like 3 months. That was like a 3-month thing. And then now I'm finally in like everything's in moderation, 80-20 rule. Like make sure you're hitting like things that are actually nutrient dense, like focusing on my health instead of how my body looks. And that's like where I'm at right now. The whole time as I do research on different like eating disorders are a mental disorder. It is a issue in the brain and how your thoughts are. Looking back on it, not knowing that I had like an eating disorder and that I could have used help or I could have used some type of intervention, because it really does mess with like your mental health. One thing I also did during like my restrictive phase was that I would eat a lot of food at night. So I would do like a really good job. Like I would hit my goals, or I would eat pretty healthily during the day, and then it would be like 9:30 at night and I'd be like, I really want ice cream. So then I would have ice cream, but then I would also put like a bunch of candy on it and chocolate syrup, the whipped cream, and then I would have that, and then I'd be like, oh, that was good. Mentality, I messed up. I might as well just keep messing up because I already fucked up my whole thing. Eat more food, whatever I can find in the kitchen, and then go to bed feeling like shit, and then waking up. So nighttime eating is also a different like sector or a different type of eating disorder. So in reality, I dealt with like 3 or 4 different versions of disordered eating, I think is like the correct terminology. But those are my signs and my symptoms. I did at one point try to go to therapy for it, and it wasn't really that helpful. But one piece of advice that I can give to anybody who is going through this right now is I want you to think long term, right? So this is just our body, right? This is our physical vessel that our spirit, who we actually are, is living in, right? Like you are not your body. Your body is just the physical version of like your soul. Does that make sense? So you're not your body, you are more than your body. And so once I realized that, I could take a step back and be like, all right, my body is not just me. I am more than how I look. And then I also started thinking about longevity. So I only have one body, right? And so it's my job to take care of it, right? So how do I do that? Well, not eating enough food is not good for my body. eating way too much food is not good for my body. Okay, so what's the happy medium? And then focusing on things that are actually good for my body, right? Eating raw fruits and vegetables, drinking greens, making sure you're getting enough of your nutrients and like vitamins and minerals. If you look into a lot of different like diseases, or if you have eczema, or if you have like different like health ailments, a lot of it is traced back to vitamin and mineral deficiency, taking vitamins and minerals and eating foods high in that. Once you shift your focus from calories to nutrients and nutrition, that was the game changer for me, because I realized, okay, I could be super, super skinny and look a certain way, but I could be unhealthy as fuck. And what do I want in the long run? I want to have a long, healthy life. So what habits do I need to build now to sustain a healthy life in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, versus obsessing over the way I look in the mirror, but being very unhealthy? And also, people don't really talk about that much, is like stress kills. Like, that's a common phrase, but if you're constantly stressed or obsessing over like your body, like that cortisol in your blood is so bad for you. Like, focusing on like releasing things, and this is gonna sound so corny, but accepting yourself for who you are, and then making the small improvements to become healthier. Once I had that mind shift, everything changed. Like, I obviously still deal with like some of the body image issues, just because social media and comparison and all that good stuff. But the switch from looking a certain way to being healthy is really what changed things for me. I also did more education and became vegetarian, so like that was a huge thing for me as well. I can make a video on being vegetarian if anybody's interested. Click the like button if you'd want to learn, or comment if you want to learn about why I became vegetarian, or like what I do to sustain it now. But yeah, that was my journey and my experiences with this. Again, restrictive eating, binge eating, night eating, overeating, all in an effort to look a certain way, or to finally be happy with myself. And it all led back to, and it all circled around to just focusing on being healthy instead. So I hope this helped somebody or resonated with somebody. I just want to tell you that, like, if nobody told you today, you are beautiful the way that you are, and focusing on being healthy is what is going to get you through this. It is a journey. It will take time. It will take consistency, but like, it is those small things every day that do add up. So I just really encourage you to make a goal list, or make like a daily checklist, and then just check those things off every day, and you'll start to notice that your life will become healthier, and you will stop being so concerned about the food that you put into your body. So with that, thank y'all for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Share if you think anybody could use this information. A lot of people go through this without speaking to anybody. So if you're concerned about somebody or think somebody could use these words, feel free to share it with them. Thank y'all, and I'll catch y'all next time.